The News at Noon starts right now.
The fire is out, but the investigation is continuing at a local apartment complex. 8 families now looking for a new place to live.
Katrina Weber live in the medical center, not too far from Babcock and Wurzbach roads. Now, we know there was a question. There was a person who was missing from there. Did they ever find that person, Katrina?
Yes, fortunately they did. The battalion chief told us a little while ago that they were able to track down those people by phone, and it looks like they just arrived here at this apartment building. Now, they were able to, they were not home at the time when this happened. Everyone else was able to get out safely. We understand that there's still a few pets missing, a couple of cats that are not accounted for, but 8 units in this building damaged or destroyed as a result of the fire and the firefighting efforts, all the water that was poured on top of that. You can see the building is missing its roof. I want to give you some video, show you some video so you can get a better look at what was going on a little bit earlier. This fire broke out around 9:30 this morning. These are the Abbey at Medical Center apartments on Raleigh Road, not far from Babcock and Wurzbach Road. And again, people were home at the time. They say that they heard neighbors knocking on their doors, helping them to get out safely because this building, from what we're told, went up very quickly. The fire did spread throughout the roof and those upper units. And then again, water and smoke downstairs damaged those apartments. We were told by the fire department that the apartment complex is going to help those people find another place to stay. As for the cause of the fire, they say it is still under investigation, but they are looking at a strand of lights that was hung on the balcony of that second floor unit as possibly being the cause of this fire. But again, no official word just yet. That is something that they're looking at as the possible cause of this fire, which now has left 8 families without a place, burned them out of their homes. But again, they are going to be helped by management here to find another place to stay. Reporting live in the medical center, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you so much, Katrina. Now, first it was heating issues this past summer, rather winter. Now it's air conditioning this summer. 2 schools within San Antonio ISD out of class today because of the AC. Classes have been canceled for Mark Twain Dual Language Academy and Bonham Academy. In a letter to the Bonham families, the school says the AC is not working. A new chiller is being installed. For Mark Twain, the principal says they are working on chillers to cool the campus. Classes for both locations expected, though, to resume tomorrow. The state resting its case in the trial of Daniel Garcia. Garcia accused in the death of 5-year-old Dominic Aguilar Acevedo back in 2021.
Dominic allegedly died at a hotel here in San Antonio and then was left in a Colorado ravine by his mother, Nicole Aguilar, and Garcia. The two then fled to Costa Rica, where Aguilar's father lived. Her father took the stand this morning and spoke through a translator about the moment he asked where Dominic was and how Aguilar told him he had gotten sick and passed away.
She said they did not call anybody.
Porque Daniel explicó que si llamaban al 911,
because Daniel explained that if they called 911,
ella podrían perder la custodia de los niños.
they could lose the children's custody, everything.
Entonces ella me explicó.
And then she explained to me
de que ellos decidieron hacer algo con Dominic.
That they decided to do something with Dominic.
The defense just rested moments ago. Jury deliberations will begin tomorrow morning after closing arguments. And you can watch the live stream of this trial on KSAT.com, KSAT Plus, and KSAT YouTube page.
Let's take a look outside with live cam. Sun is out, beautiful looking day, and already 93 degrees, but not as bad as yesterday.
Not as bad as yesterday, and we do need to be on alert later today for the potential for some severe weather. A little bit better of a chance for storms tonight than what we saw last night. Last night, really only a few isolated storms in the hill country. It's 93 right now in San Antonio, but guess what? It already feels like it's near 100 degrees. It already feels like 108 in Gonzales and 113 in Freer. There's some storms up near Austin, and these storms are actually moving close to the Dripping Springs area. They're not severe, but what they are doing is they're developing an outflow boundary, which is rain-cooled gust of wind. And this rain-cooled gust of wind is actually producing wind gusts of up to 45 miles per hour. So that's going to be moving south, potentially impacting Canyon Lake, New Braunfels, Seguin area. So you'll likely see some winds pick up here within the next hour or so. Looking at the radar, radar. Not too much going on other than that isolated storm out near Austin. But later on tonight, storm chances really start to pick up, especially after 5 o'clock, and severe storms are going to be possible, mainly for gusty winds. I'm going to be having those details coming up in just a bit. David, Ursula.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Closing arguments now underway in the historic criminal trial against former President Donald Trump. Prosecutors arguing that Trump falsified 34 business records when he paid his lawyer for a non-disclosure agreement to keep an adult film actress from feeding a story to the tabloids ahead of the 2016 election.
Trump's defense says he was simply reimbursing his lawyer at the time and that non-disclosure payments are not illegal. ABC's Rena Roy with his closing arguments that started by saying this is a case about documents and bookkeeping, not a felony crime.
After 5 weeks of testimony, the hush money trial against former President Donald Trump is now in its final stretch. The jury hearing closing arguments today before the case is in their hands. The defense going first, attorney Todd Blanche thanking jurors for their service, then saying President Trump is innocent, arguing that the district attorney has not met their burden of proof, period. Prosecutors trying to convince jurors to convict Trump on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, arguing he tried to hide damaging information from voters ahead of the 2016 election. They say Trump ordered his former attorney Michael Cohen to pay adult film actress Stormy Daniels $130,000 in exchange for her silence about their alleged sexual encounter, then labeled it as a legal expense. The prosecution building their case with 20 witnesses, including Daniels and Cohen. Defense attorney Blanche telling jurors today, quote, Michael Cohen lied to you. Also saying the records weren't false and there was no intent to defraud, adding there was no conspiracy to influence the 2016 election. He also tried to distance Trump from some of the records, saying Cohen submitted the invoices and the accounting staff put a stamp on them. Trump has denied that sexual encounter and has pleaded not guilty.
This is a dark day in America. We have a rigged court case that should have never been brought. And it should have been brought in another jurisdiction. As you know, we asked for that.
A big show of support in court from his family with his sons Eric and Don Jr. by his side, and for the first time, his daughter Tiffany as well.
Deliberations will likely begin tomorrow. Trump could face prison time if he's convicted, but will almost certainly appeal. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The polls are officially open for the runoff election, and they're going to stay open until 7 o'clock this evening. Now, if you've got some questions about what's at stake, we've got the answers. Just scan the QR code on the screen. The KSAT Vote 2024 webpage is full of helpful information like polling places, sample ballots, and a whole lot more.
And don't forget, we'll have a special runoff election live stream starting tonight at 7, right after the news at 6. Results will start trickling in as soon as we start the stream. You can watch on any of our KSAT streaming platforms.
We're going to take a look at some of the top items you'll need if you're headed outdoors to the lake or the beach or the rivers.
And mannequins have been used in healthcare training for years, but now they're getting a little more advanced. How they are helping nursing students prepare for real life scenarios. Coming up.
We do work beyond the nursing students. Working with Hal back here, that's an interprofessional education piece. We work with the School of Health Professions, the respiratory therapy, so they come in and work with us. The School of Physical Therapy comes in and works with our nurses as well.
Medical mannequins and virtual reality. Those are some of the tools that are helping local nursing students and healthcare professionals train for real-life scenarios.
Tiffany Huerta shows us these interactive courses and training that's being recognized on a national level.
How are you feeling today?
Talking mannequins play an important role at this simulation lab at the UT Health San Antonio School of Nursing.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and place. It's going to be a little cold, okay?
Benjamin Romero and his classmates are learning how to care for patients at the school's Center for Simulation Innovation.
We're actually very fortunate to be working with our mannequins that are able to talk back to us, give us real life cues, verbal, nonverbal. Patient can track their eyes if those settings are enabled.
This mannequin's voice and movement are controlled from a computer in the next room.
Where the students come down to practice their skills and their assessments on patients.
So the center opened in 2013 with one room. How many rooms are there now?
Well, there's 23 stations that are available, but now we have 23 rooms that are capable of high fidelity simulation.
James Cleveland, the director of the Center for Simulation Innovation, took us around the different spaces.
It's lifelike too. Also, it's untethered, so you can hold it. You can see his eyes are open, and he can cry, seizures.
Students and healthcare professionals train here. It's very realistic.
And again, for interprofessional purposes, we can have, if physicians can work on advanced practice, nurses can work on it, so we can do, different types of IVs.
Recently, the lab received accreditation from the Society for Simulation in Healthcare in the area of teaching and education.
You have to have measurable outcomes. You have to be able to show that you have development. You have to be able to show the educational complements of the simulation on top of the other ongoing educational activities that are occurring in your university setting.
And then put it on the patient's chest, and then you should be able to hear the heartbeat.
The program also uses virtual reality as another training tool for students. The center began using this virtual reality experience in the spring, and here at UT Health San Antonio, they hope to expand this type of technology.
Our students will actually wear a headset and do things in the virtual environment that will prepare them when they take care of our live patients.
Sonia Harton, Dean of the School of Nursing, is proud of her team for innovating and earning this certification.
I hope that what this means for us is that not only will we continue to meet the standard, but that we will be able to actually increase some of the things that we're doing down there.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
The technology is magnificent. It's unbelievable.
But y'all are creeped out by the voice.
I will
we can
say
work on the voice a little bit. Yeah,
as long as those robots do not become sentient. That's my thing. I don't want an iRobot situation. Remember that movie?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want that.
Creepy voice.
Yeah. All right. Outside with live cam, a little bit of haze out there. Hey, the aquifer is down more than a foot over the past 24 hours. And in the pollen count, we've got one allergen, just molds. But again, we do have some of that haze from some of those fires. Take a look at the radar. There is an outflow boundary that's approaching areas like Canyon Lake. That could easily result in a wind gust of about 40 miles per hour for parts of Comal County. Tonight, storms are possible after 5 p.m. I'll be monitoring for some damaging winds and pockets of hail. As for the rest of the week, mid-90s. Not as bad as this last weekend. Details on tonight's storm chance coming up.
Ooh, that brutal heat may be bad for most of us unless you're headed to the beach or the pool. But if you're going to the beach, you may need to take that right stuff with you, though.
Umbrellas, chairs, towels, 12 on your sides, Marilyn Morris. Gearing up for the pool or the shore.
Beaching it means sand, surf, and stuff.
There's so many beach products out there. So we focused on some of the essentials: beach umbrellas, beach canopies, beach tents, and even sand repellent beach towels.
Consumer Reports likes this Turkish towel from Ephesus. It's compact, dries quickly, and some are less than $10.
We could not get sand to stick to this towel.
And get this, it repels sand. Now chairs. CR chose the Cooler Quad chair from Coleman. It's comfy and versatile.
Not only is this chair amazing on the beach, but you'll find yourself pulling it out so many times during the year.
For reclining under the sun, they also like the Tommy Bahama Wavy Marlin Deluxe. It has plenty of storage, including an insulated cooler pouch. Need some shade? These all say they're made with at least UPF 50 fabric. This Tommy Bahama umbrella has easy grip handles for setup, and it's designed to withstand serious beach breeze. This Caribbean Joe umbrella, not so much. It lost its battle with the wind. The Cool Cabana 5 was a top pick because of its easy use, and it offers a lot of shade. This tent from LL Bean is made from quality materials and had the most features. It was also the easiest to set up and take down among those tested. Sunburn is no day at the beach. This Coppertone lotion and this Eucerin spray got top scores in CR sunscreen ratings. And one more thing. Don't forget the snacks. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Sarah Spiver, got the question. Outflow boundary headed this way. Does that mean rain is coming this way or no?
better chance than yesterday, right?
Better chance than yesterday, particularly in the evening. Okay, that's when severe storms are going to be possible, mainly after 5 p.m. Now, the chance for rain is still only 40% in San Antonio. So that is important to emphasize. Not everybody is going to see storms tonight, but it is possible, and damaging wind gusts would be the main threat. We'll talk all about that in just a bit. But David was just talking about the outflow boundary. What I'm showing you right here, right now, is the current look at the radar. Let's go and take a look at the loop. You can see that there's some storminess right near Dripping Springs. Now, these storms are producing their own outflow boundaries, gusts of cooler air, and you can actually see that outflow boundary right now. It's that thin green line. Now, along that thin green line, that's where some showers are popping up, but not really. It's not really producing a ton of rain. It is, however, producing some wind. I'm going to show you the wind speeds here. Take a look at this area of winds between Hays County, just north of New Braunfels. There could be some wind gusts of up to about 45 miles per hour heading toward New Braunfels here, and potentially near Seguin too. So in just the next 30 minutes or so, it could get pretty windy for areas that I'm going to circle here. So areas like New Braunfels, Seguin, perhaps even Schertz and the Garden Ridge area. So that's a possibility. But as far as rain goes, I mean, that rain should be localized toward Austin right now. Earlier today, there were quite a few storms though that moved through the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they produced very gusty winds. In fact, that is the area that is currently looking at some pretty major power outages as we speak. Dallas the county area there, about 370,000 people without power. Collin County, where McKinney is, about 62,000 people without power. Why am I showing you that? Well, wind gusts are going to be the area of highest risk today. And in fact, we just received this update from the Storm Prediction Center that 3 should be over this area of orange. So in areas in nearer to Del Rio, that's where the highest risk for severe weather is, and out near Houston. For us in San Antonio, we're on a 2 on a scale of 1 to 5 for the risk for severe weather today. And again, the biggest issue would be damaging wind gusts. Let me show you the future cast. Some storms will develop out to the west. That's why there's a higher risk for severe weather out west. Now, whether these storms hold on and make it to San Antonio, that's the big question. That's why there's only a 40% chance, but it is a possibility, and it's going to be later. It's going to be after 6 p.m., potentially into the overnight hours. This is a snapshot just after midnight. So if you got some light sleepers, your pets, your kids, from thunder and lightning, just keep in mind that it is possible that they could get woken up by some lightning and perhaps even some gusty winds. So that storm chance is mainly for after dinner. Then as we head into the rest of the week, I mean, it's going to only be near 90 degrees tomorrow. I know as you're looking off in the horizon, I'm sure you're seeing some of the haze from the agricultural fires burning in Mexico. I'll have details about that coming up.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hey, the Mavericks are just 1 win away from a trip to the NBA Finals. The T-Wolves can stay alive with a win and keep winning. They'll make history. Former Spur Manu Ginobili using his worldwide influence to talk up his team. San Antonio being led by Victor Wembanyama, the future bright for the San Antonio Spurs. And hopefully that means the future will be the playoffs. Excuse me. The Silver and Black haven't been in the postseason since 2019 when they lost to the Denver in the first round. I'm going to cough again, so get ready.
All right, a pretty long dry spell for a team with 5 NBA championships with so many high draft picks over the last few years. A lot of folks are getting a little antsy. Need another playoff run. That's what Spurs Hall of Famer and special advisor to basketball operations Manu Ginobili was asked during a recent interview on a Chinese live stream, and here's what he said. But we hope and believe that now with Victor and his upcoming draft that we're going to have 2 top 10s in 2 to 3 years. We can be out there contending. I don't know if being favorited, but being in the playoffs, being good, end quote.
Don't even say it, man. But it feels great. But we got to think about next game. Got to play with the same mentality. They're not going to go away, no way. So we need to prepare for the next game. We just got to think about next game.
That was Luka Doncic's response when told no NBA team has come back to win a series when they were down 3-0, and that's what the T-Wolves will now attempt in the Western Conference Finals.
I mean, we ain't got nothing else to do. That's the only, we can't do nothing but be positive at this point. We can't be negative, so try to get one win at a time.
All right, we'll find out tonight. Game 4, 7:30 in Dallas. Mavs thinking sweep. In the Eastern Conference Finals last night, Celtics beat the Pacers 105-102. That series is over, so now we know that Boston is in the finals. We'll find out if it's the Mavs or the T-Wolves, and thank you. See? Good teamwork. Way to go. It's that stinking dust in here.
I know, it's the smoke and the dust.
Yeah.
Whatever's.
That's what
All
I'm
right.
blaming it on.
Still ahead in our next half hour, we're reading a recent UTSA grad who is hoping to become an inspiration for those struggling with addiction.
Plus, why most men don't talk about their experience with domestic violence and what you can do to get help if you need it. Coming up.
We have a developing story that we've been following from over the weekend. An 80-year-old woman is dead. People in downtown, meantime, are now worried for their safety.
According to police, the woman, Heidi Silkworth, was visiting from Dallas. She was attending a graduation at the Alamo Dome when she was shot and killed by a stray bullet. Silkworth and her family had just left the ceremony and were driving through downtown when the shots were fired. Chief McManus says the shooting was a result of a fight between two groups of men. Business owners worry that the incident gives the downtown area a bad rep.
Need attention to it. We don't want to kill the tourism in here. The tourists get shot, get crossfired, or however that happened. Is definitely going to put a little concern on everybody who's planning to come to San Antonio.
Now, according to the chief, San Antonio police detained 9 people. He says downtown is well patrolled and that safe officers in the area get more backup if they ask for it.
You don't hear about them too often, but they're there. Men who survive domestic abuse. They usually don't feel comfortable talking about it, though.
Dr. Sylvester Harris, who's a survivor, opened up to our Courtney Freeman about his story. He checked into a men's shelter in Dallas after a previous relationship became physically and emotionally violent.
It was more so the mental agony days that I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I was losing my mind.
He lived in the shelter and got counseling, and they helped him transition back to a normal routine. He spoke to us because he wants other men to know it's okay to ask for help. Here in San Antonio, there are shelters and resources for men. You can watch more of our conversation with Sylvester on our website, KSAT.com.
If you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, there is help. Scan the QR code on your screen and that'll direct you to a long list of resources. You can also visit ksat.com/domestic violence.
Severe storms over the Memorial weekend have now left at least 22 people dead. 76 tornadoes were reported from the Midwest to Texas. Weather also delayed multiple big airports, including those in New York, Atlanta, and Florida.
Taking a look outside with live cam, it really looks pretty out there, but you got to be indoors.
Yeah,
I think to really enjoy this day.
It's still hot outside. I mean, we got 95 right now, but it feels like it's into the triple digits. Take a look at the time lapse here from early this morning. You can see clouds have really cleared and it is ending up being a pretty warm afternoon. It's 95, but it feels like it is 102 outside. You'll notice a haze on the horizon too, and that's because there are some agricultural fires burning down in Central America, and we're actually looking at some of that smoke. As far as the air quality goes though, really only taking a small dip from the perfect good to moderate. So really not much of an issue out there today other than that haze on the horizon. Now taking a look at the radar, you can see that we do have some showers that have developed and pushing into parts of Comal County. So I think areas like Canyon Lake could get a quick isolated shower here. The biggest impact from these are the outflow boundaries that you can see here. Take a look at that line. That's gusty winds of up to 40 miles per hour moving through New Braunfels and Seguin right now. Our storm chances though in San Antonio pick up tonight. After 5 p.m. that's when we have a 40% chance for some severe weather. That's what I'm going to be talking about in depth coming up in just a few minutes. Ursula, David.
Thank you, Sarah. As we continue to recognize some of the great students who are graduating in an area, we want to introduce you to one man who's turned his struggles into success.
Sarah Costa tells us after graduating from UTSA with a Bachelor of Music in Vocal Performance at 37 years old, Antonio Zuaga is reaching his goals one day at a time.
Born in Venezuela and one of 10 siblings, Antonio moved to the States in 2003. Graduating with a college degree is a surreal moment for him. This was his second attempt at college after failing the first time back in 2010.
I put in for my audition for the School of Music and I never showed up. I actually parked in the parking lot and I had everything ready and I just didn't come in the building because I was too scared. So I enrolled in anthropology and I started doing that kind of stuff and failed pretty miserably.
Antonio left UTSA, started working different jobs, and then went through one of the hardest times in his life.
Unfortunately, I was involved in a lot of things and ended up in a really bad period of alcoholism and addiction. I was very depressed. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, which was music. So when I got sober in 2017, I decided I was going to go back to school and I was going to just pursue music.
Coming from a family of musicians, Antonio says music has always been a part of his life and played a huge part in his recovery.
So when I got sober, just being involved in music with the community and just using my instrument, singing, learning music, it helped me heal.
As for what's next, Antonio will be going to UTSA's master's program of music in chorale conducting. His goal is to create a San Antonio recovery choir to help those battling addiction. Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
Still ahead, what you need to do to make sure you don't get sick while traveling this summer.
But first, home sales are dropping, and the prices of those homes are to blame. What the average home now costs, that's coming up after the break. Spring, typically the time of year when most homes are put on the market, because that's when allows families time to close and then move out in time for the upcoming school year in the fall.
But this year was actually much cooler spring market than in past years. Lawrence Yoon with the National Association of Realtors says that home sales are now at a 30-year low. And there's a few different reasons why. With fewer homes on the market, it means more competition. So buyers are forced to pay more. In April, the median home sale price was $407,600. That is 5.7% higher than a year ago, according to the National Association of Realtors.
It's been a very unique situation. There's not enough inventory, so the buyers are left with so few choices. We are hitting all-time high in terms of home prices.
Interest rates are also rising. According to bankrate.com, the current average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage interest rate is 7.08%. That's as of Memorial Day.
Outside with live cam. Woo! Look at that. The rain needs to come.
Yeah, the aquifer.
In any shape or form, because that number doesn't look good.
The aquifer is down almost 1.5 feet just in the last 24 hours, but it's more than 30 feet below the monthly average. That area needs good drink of water. And in the pollen count, we've only got one allergen out there. Molds are low. Here's what you need to know. Tonight, storms are possible, a 40% chance after 5 p.m. And even though chance is 40%, any storms that develop could become severe, with damaging winds being the main threat and some pockets of hail possible. As for the rest of the week, stray storm, highs in the low to mid 90s. Details coming up.
Summer's almost here. Many of you are getting ready to take vacations, but health experts say traveling can take a toll on your immune system.
Yeah, traveling can be fun and rewarding, but it can also be exhausting, which can make fighting off infections hard for your body. A few things you can do to make sure you're having a good time on your vacation include following basic hygiene rules like keeping your hands clean, making sure you're staying hydrated, especially if you're going to be out in the sun a lot, and take some vitamin C.
And if you're going to be out in nature, look out for these little guys, ticks. They carry Lyme disease. Protect yourself, wear long sleeves, long pants, tuck your pants into your socks, and use insect repellent to help keep them away. And be sure to check your body for ticks when you come inside.
Yourself and your animals.
That's
Don't forget
true.
to check your animals, too, if they're out there running around with you, because those are nasty little things.
And you don't want to get Lyme disease.
No, not at all.
That's what my mom used to do. She used to say, tick check. And we would check after everything. So
Good mom.
She trained me well.
Yeah.
All right. I do want to start, though, with the fact that storm chances are going to increase after 5 p.m. today. That's when we're going to have a 40% chance for storms. So storms are possible, not a guarantee. Possible. And if storms do develop, they could become strong or severe with gusty winds. I'm showing you the authority radar right now. I want to go ahead and put this in motion here. And you can see that there were some storms out near Dripping Springs. That outflow boundary produced some showers that have just now started in northern parts of Comal County. But really, the biggest impact from this for areas around San Antonio are going to be this outflow boundary. You can see that thin green line there, Bulverde down to Garden Ridge and through Seguin. This is where we could have a few wind gusts of up to 40 miles per hour, just starting to move into San Antonio. So a bit on the breezy side here, but they're not really producing a ton of rain for the Bexar County area. However, near Schulenburg and in parts of Gonzales County and Lavaca County, a few flashes of lightning. So Shiner, you're about to get some of that those storms at the moment. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the bigger picture. There was some major wind out near Dallas earlier today from storms that knocked out some power. Wind gusts are going to be the main threat with any storms that develop today. Now, as far as the severe risk goes around Texas, the highest risk is a 3 here from Amarillo down to Del Rio and then out near the Houston area. Again, mainly for damaging wind gusts. But even San Antonio, and honestly, a good portion of the state is under a 2 on a scale of 1 to 5, a level 2 risk for severe weather. So again, severe weather, not a guarantee tonight, but what we are going to be watching is where those storms develop. Here's a look at the futurecast. This is later tonight, slightly after dinner. A few storms to our north and to our west are going to develop. And these storms, once they get going, folks, they kind of have a mind of their own as far as their direction goes. And that's why our chance for storms tonight is 40%, because these storms could fall apart before they make it to San Antonio, or they could hold together. Here's the thing, though. This is our best chance for storms that we've seen in a while at 40%. And with these storms, the main threat would be gusty winds, but embedded in some of these storms, we could also see pockets of hail as well. This is a snapshot at 9 o'clock tonight, and then towards San Antonio again after 8 p.m., closer to midnight. So don't be surprised if you hear some light thunder and hear some wind tonight. Maybe you got some light sleepers, pets, kids. If you do happen to get a storm, we're going to be tracking these. Make sure to have the KSAT Weather Authority app handy. We will be live right from your phone and, of course, on air as need be. Otherwise, Wednesday, a few lingering showers possible in the morning. But the biggest thing I want to communicate is that tonight, if you get a storm, the highest risk would be for winds. Secondary would be for hail, and then pockets of heavy rain possible as well. It's 95, but it feels like 100, and it's breezy with gusts up to 21 miles per hour in San Antonio. Feels like 100 in Seguin, 100 at Stinson. Feels like 97 in Canyon Lake. Looking at the remainder of the forecast for the day, again, notice our storm chances really start to pick up after 5 p.m., and that's when severe storms are going to be possible, 40% chance. Looking at your 7-day forecast, 97 for the high today, only 90 tomorrow. Not too bad. It's nice to see that change there. And then highs in the mid-90s for the rest of the week and a chance for isolated showers and storms.
90 degrees, rain cooled morning, I hope.
I hope so too. Bust out the jackets for that 90 degrees.
Okay, yeah. You're gonna need a sweater at least.
Hey, coming up after the break, we're talking buffaloes. No, not a team name. We're talking like real live buffaloes and what a Texas group is doing to help rebuild the population after they nearly went extinct. Hey, a group outside of San Antonio wants buffaloes back in our state. They're near extinction, and they've been around since the 1900s, and it's hurt the livelihoods of indigenous people and the environment.
Sarah Costa takes us to Wilder, Texas, east of San Antonio to introduce you to a group that's trying to heal that pain and bring the buffalo back.
And once again, the buffalo are thriving here in Texas. We're in the southern coastal plains.
It will definitely make you do a double take seeing buffalo graze the land, driving through Welder, Texas off of I-10, a little over an hour east of San Antonio. There are over 20 buffalo on 77 acres of the Texas Tribal Buffalo Project. The nonprofit is run by all indigenous women, from the funding to logistics to taking care of the buffalo themselves. The founder and director of the Texas Buffalo Project, Lucille Contreras, says the return of these animals is tied to a healing necessary for her people's existence.
At one point, the buffalo were everything to Texas indigenous people. They were our source of spirituality, our source of nutrition and food.
For the Lipan Apache, Payaya, Korwankwa, and many more, until the buffalo were killed off by the millions in the 1800s.
They were killed for sport, they were killed for their hides, and they were killed as a way to exterminate the Native Americans.
In the early 1900s, the buffalo were almost extinct with less than 1,000 living. And Lucille says it wasn't just the animals who were fighting to survive.
We've had a hide in plain sight because of forced assimilation as a way to survive, just as the buffalo had to survive.
The mass destruction of the buffalo also led to another loss.
It was a devastation also to the environment and to the land and to the climate.
It's why nonprofits in the U.S. are working to restore the buffalo population, like the global nonprofit, the Nature Conservancy.
The Nature Conservancy manages 6,000 bison across 1,300 acres at 12 preserves.
Suzanne Scott, the director of the Nature Conservancy in Texas, said they realized it made sense for them to partner with groups like the Texas Buffalo Project.
2021, 5 buffalo were transferred from the Medano Zapata Ranch in Colorado.
Partnerships that heal Texas indigenous people and Texas native grasslands.
Grasslands have just been taken over by growing cities, agricultural lands.
We need our grasslands and our buffalo because together they help combat climate change by promoting biodiversity and keeping the carbon in the ground.
Carbon sequestration happens when carbon is kept in the ground rather than be released into the atmosphere.
One way carbon is kept into the ground is by creating healthy soil and healthy grasses and healthy forbs that retain.
Buffalo help do this in a number of ways. One, by keeping invasive species or brush like mesquite trees from taking over, and promoting the life of the prairies by spreading seed when it gets stuck to their fur.
The way that they walk on the ground, they aerate the soil, and they reawaken the seed bank.
How the buffalo graze also helps the grasslands.
Beef, cattle, they are not native to here. And so they eat the grass so much that they pull it all the way up and it doesn't replenish itself. Versus buffalo that move, they graze rotationally, naturally, and they only eat the tops of the grass. So the grass continues to grow.
But what about methane? Cattle are known for releasing tons of methane through manure, contributing to global warming. Lucille explains that buffalo manure better decomposes than cattle manure. Buffalo dung also attracts more native insects that turn it into a natural fertilizer for native grasslands, therefore releasing less methane.
Dung becomes an entire world microcosm in itself.
Lucille says this is just the beginning. Long term, they hope for thousands of acres where thousands of buffalo can roam free. But more importantly, for other ranchers to be able to replicate their methods for a more sustainable future in agriculture.
If we know who we are and where we come from, we're able to go forward with purpose, with health, and with unity, just as the buffalo.
Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
Summer fun, grilling steaks, circus tricks, even a runaway tortoise?
It's all on an encore episode of SA Live with Mike Osterhage.
Well, we have got so much on today's show. Fiona is getting ready to run away with the circus, something like that, because Aqua Acro brings the circus to Market Square, and Jen and Fiona are actually going to try out some of these circus tricks. I always knew she was going to be a circus performer. Easy pork sliders with mom and cookbook author Meg Dow, creator of More Mama, nothing like easy recipes for dinner. Piggy Bakery whips up some very easy treats for our nation's birthday that you'll want to make all summer long. Oh, I love these great summer dishes. Hey, you getting ready to throw a steak on the grill? Who doesn't love a good grilled steak? We have some tips from Seguin pitmaster and cookbook author Adrian Davila. Up close and personal with reptiles and birds. Fletcher Reptile and Bird Rescue is going to be here. And a couple of young gentlemen, these Solis brothers, are going to be performing for us. Boy, are they talented. Mom and Dad are going to be very proud. That and a whole lot more coming up on SA Live, so stick around.